You are here because the outside world rejects you.
The 2007 TMNT movie is kind of an island in the Turtles franchise. There was only one movie and it came out over 10 years after the previous movies, and it would take 7 years for another version of the Turtles to come out on the big screen. We got such a small window into this version of the Turtles' universe, but there was a little more to that universe that I don't think a lot of fans got to hear about, unless you were following this stuff really closely back then. The movie just kind of throws you into the middle of events that are already happening. Leonardo's already out in the jungle, and Raphael's a vigilante, fighting crime in the middle of the night while wearing a suit. The two have such an epic showdown in the movie, and knowing what came before this kind of gives it another element while watching the film. What had the two been doing while they were apart? Well, luckily we got a peek into that in the prequel comics for the film, and that's what we're going to discuss today in this video. So let's waste no time, grab a slice of pizza, and dive into the sewers, because today we're going to take a look at how Raphael turned into the Nightwatcher and how Leonardo turned into the Ghost of the Jungle.
Nightwatcher.
When we are first dropped into this film, we see that Raphael has an alter ego, the Nightwatcher. It's not really explained in the film how this happens. He just is the Nightwatcher already when the film begins. But there's a little bit of a backstory to this. In the Raphael movie prequel comic titled Disposable Heroes, we start off with the Turtles mopping up a patrol of Triceratons, which is kind of wild to think about, the Triceratons being in the 2007 TMNT universe, although we do kind of get hints of it in the movie when we see the Triceratops skull in Max Winter's office. Not gonna lie, it would have been pretty cool to see them on the big screen. Anyways, during this confrontation with the Triceratons, Raphael hears an old man nearby getting attacked by some criminals. Raphael gets the urge to go help out, but Leonardo doesn't allow it, wanting him to stick together with the team and everything. Luckily, the old dude survives this, but later on, Leonardo and Raphael argue about what happened, which is kind of a gray area. What do you guys think? Should he have stayed with the team to help out with the Triceratons, or should he have gone to help the old man? Anyway, shortly after this, we see that Splinter's letting everyone know that at this point, only one of the turtles is ready to go on a journey, and that turtle is Leonardo. We'll talk about this journey when we see how Leonardo became the Ghost of the Jungle, by the way. During Splinter's announcement of this trip that Leo would be taking, you can see that Raphael is in the background sulking as he watches. Then he storms off. Out in the city, on his own, Raphael sees a group of guys mugging a lady. Raphael goes berserk and starts taking them out. When Raphael is done handling business, he is approached by the old man from earlier who was getting attacked. Raphael is surprised that the old man was able to sneak up on him undetected. We find out that his name is David Merriweather, and he ends up inviting Raphael back to his place. As they walk away, he tells Raphael that the sneaking up thing is an old trick of the trade. Raph is confused about this, but not for long, as the old man explains that back in the day, he was a crime fighter, and later on you see his suit, which is the Nightwatcher suit from the movie. Their visit comes to an end, and Raphael starts to head home, when all of a sudden he hears gunshots. He goes to see what's going on, and the commotion is coming from the old man's place. You see a group of men running from his building with guns in hand. Eventually, Raphael sees the old man dying on the ground and tells him sorry that he couldn't be there to save him. He promises the old man that he'll hide his stuff that he used to fight crime back in the day so that no one will figure out who he was, and that also he'll catch the guys who did this, which he eventually does. We see in the comic that the old man had everything put away in a secret area: the suit, the motorcycle, the weapons, and Raph, most likely in memory of David Merriweather, ends up donning the suit and becoming the Nightwatcher.
Didn't I take care of you last week?
Leonardo, aka the Ghost of the Jungle. We briefly see it in the movie, but he's back reunited with his family, and we don't really get to spend too much time of him in this alter ego. But there is a little bit more of a backstory to how he became to be. It's in his prequel comic for the film titled 5 to 1. Master Splinter, as we discussed earlier, sends Leonardo on a year-long journey to hone his skills. We see that Splinter sits his son down before he sends him off and tells him, "The fivefold path shall lead you to one. Do you understand?" Leo doesn't seem to understand his cryptic message, and so Splinter says, "You shall, but not until your journey has been completed." The book is then broken down into 5 mini-sections, each with its own message. The first is courage, and we see a ship navigating icy waters near Iceland. A group of people seem to be attempting to hunt down whales with a harpoon gun, when Leo comes out of nowhere and deflects the projectile, pointing out that the whale that they were about to kill was a mother with her baby, as you see the baby whale come up for some air. The next part of the book is called Compassion, and we are taken to Portugal at some docks, where Leonardo ends up freeing children that were sold into slavery. Leo is covered in blood after he fights the people that were holding them captive. The next part is called Selflessness, and we are taken to Mongolia, where a group of people have captured a creature and are going to exploit it for money. Leo shows up here as well and says to take him instead. The leader of this group tries to capture Leo, and they actually succeed, but Leo frees the creature in the process. Leo, now captured, is tied up and taken away. Later on, we see that the creature that he freed comes back to save him, actually with a whole group of creatures just like him. They tend to Leo's wounds, and again, Leo heads somewhere else. The next part is called Humility, and Leo is in Japan this time, in a secret cave, the home of the Ninja Tribunal. I can't help but think that everything in this part is very similar to the 2003 show. The main guy here, or the Ancient One, as he's known, says to Leo, "So your sensei thinks you've been trained sufficiently enough to come here and face us?" And so the two square off. It seems cordial though, but it's definitely a test, as he does not take it easy on Leo, calling him names as they fight, and eventually he beats Leo. And he says to him, "You think you're better than your brothers, do you? You think yourself as good as Splinter? You still have much to learn. You still a little ninja baby. How can you learn to help others if you cannot even help yourself?" And then he leaves him with one final piece of advice. One does not face the fivefold path alone. The path begins and ends with others. And then we head into the fifth and final part called Community. And this time Leo is in Costa Rica, presumably protecting a community in the Ghost of the Jungle alter ego that we find them in the movie. April's there with him, and I imagine this takes place sometime in the movie when she's there with him as well, but it looks like it's a part we didn't get to see. He says to her that he's seen what humans do to one another and that it makes him sick, and that that's his problem with community. She says maybe he should define it differently, think about it in more personal terms, and we see Leo go for a walk in the jungle, thinking about how Splinter said, "The fivefold path shall lead you to the one, 5 to 1, and this makes him think of his family. The closest thing I could think of was that there's 5 of them on different paths, but they all lead to one family. That's the best I could come up with. Anyways, he seems to have a moment of clarity at this point and realizes that it's time to go back home to his family. And in the movie, we see what happens next.
I'm not afraid of that ghost!
So yeah, that's what Leonardo and Raphael were doing before the events of the 2007 movie, Raphael becoming the Nightwatcher and Leonardo becoming the Ghost of the Jungle. What did you think? Do you think the next time you watch the movie, maybe you'll see this conflict between the two a little differently? Let me know. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in a little bit with another video. Take care.